Frankenstein. Now, we all know the classic horror story of Mary Shelley's novel where Henry Frankenstein created a monster from dead bodies in this fictional abomination. But wait, let's just suppose this was never fiction. Let's just suppose this indestructible and immortal creation was actually a cover-up all those years ago. The authorities knew the terrifying truth and reported Dr. Henry Frankenstein was in fact killed along with his creation in a fire deliberately lit by German police in the winter of 1886 near Ludendorff. It's believed the doctor tried to hide the 7-foot giant inside a farmyard barn full of fresh hay. The barn was rapidly pumped to the ground in just a mere 30 minutes. The monster was heard by over 20 witnesses roaring in agony, with Dr. Frankenstein's fading screams dying 5 minutes beforehand. An hour or so later, the 2 cremated bodies were taken to Hamburg and buried anonymously. That was the official verdict, which the 2 unknown burial places remained secret until 2018, when a professor, Dr. Benjamin Karl Hoffenheim from Stuttgart's College of Paleontology and Science, discovered the whereabouts of what he had always assumed being of folklore and legend. After a lot of debate with historians, cryptozoologists, believe it or not, and professors from all over Germany, both graves were secretly exhumed on the 18th of October 2019 after a lot of red tape and court appeals, which horrified German authorities. There was only one skeleton in the 2 graves. DNA was to prove the actual existence of Dr. Henry Frankenstein, born in Vienna, Austria in 1798. He grew up in the city of Bonn, Germany. He later married Elizabeth Liechtenstein, who gave birth to Victor Frankenstein in 1840. Victor was 46 years old when his father died 2 years later, 1888. Victor was to later charter a boat or a private exhibition to an unknown location in the frozen tundra of northern Canada. The boat and 14-strong crew were never seen again. Professor Hoffenheim had always known about Victor's Arctic exhibition, but years of research never revealed Victor Frankenstein's objective. On the 26th of July 2022, Dr. Hoffenheim shocked the scientific world where an elite assembly behind closed doors, hidden from the media, stated Victor had taken his father's creation to the remotest place on earth, away from society, to set it free in the vast wastelands of an unforgiving landscape. He also stated the creature must have escaped its captivity and killed the crew, including Victor, for them to completely disappear off the face of the earth. As the story leaked to the media, authorities realised Dr. Hoffenheim's report made perfect sense, taking into consideration the empty grave where the creature was supposed to be laid to rest. As I delved deeper into this unbelievable story, I discovered only months ago that the Canadian authorities made public the existence of a serial killer or killers due to the timescape where over 300 people have vanished without trace in the vast tundra. Over 60 bodies have been recovered in frozen, mutilated conditions. They also have reports of 2 survivors who fled while their friends were torn to pieces by a 7-foot, what they described, a giant troll-like humanoid creature that roared as it approached, terrifying people. Now, I don't know, or I can't even imagine what you, the viewers, must be thinking right now. Logic won't compute as your sanity is being tested trying to convince you of the true reality of the Frankenstein monster. Why did the German authorities lie and cover up a burial if it was a fictional creature? Why would a respected professor risk his reputation by going public with unbelievable evidence on a so-called fictional character? And more importantly, why is everyone now running scared? As far as we know, the Joe public, the Frankenstein creation was indestructible and immortal. Maybe that's why Frankenstein's son Victor took it to the Canadian wilderness to keep it far away from civilization, which obviously indicates this thing was more dangerous than it was portrayed in movies. I mean, more than 300 victims in the Arctic, bears or wolves had always been thought to be the probable culprits, till those two survivors, years apart, described a 7-feet troll-like humanoid creature. The mind boggles, so does the imagination, as the last survivor was in 2010. Last week, just browsing the Canadian internet, I typed in killer troll in the tundra and logged into a red triangle which momentarily started bleeping. The screen then started flashing and these dots appeared which looked part of a map or something, then abruptly went back to Google search. Minutes later, I tried to log back in. It came up with the Norwegian trolls. That wasn't the site I was on. I went into my history files and found the site. When I tried to log back in, it said results not found. I was evidently blocked from it, which gave me quite a startle. Obviously, I got a glimpse of something I wasn't authorised to see. I deleted my history. That's what convinced me the Frankenstein monster walked off the pages of fiction and into the terrifying realms of reality. It's been out there for almost 150 years, killing innocent people in the tundra. And I now think in a top secret location known as the Red Triangle. You won't find it on any maps, I've tried. But I do know it's there. As the news hit the media during 2022, after Professor Hoffenheim's report became public knowledge, a 5-person exhibition left for the Arctic to document the creature a year later, 2023. When they got there, they hired a guide who was a professional hunter to lead them into the interior of the kill zone. Leading this Arctic safari was 22-year-old Eamon Steinberg, a German student from Munich who financed the exhibition. Victor Frankenstein, who had disappeared in 1888, left a daughter, Miriam, who herself had a daughter, Marissa Hagelman, in 1941. Victor's granddaughter, Marissa, was married to a German architect, Boris Steinberg, who became Eamon's grandfather. So, Victor Frankenstein was Eamon's great-great-great-grandfather, where certain Frankenstein family secrets were handed down from generation to generation. Eamon's intent was to try and find the creature, hoping it had at least a streak of humanity within it. The rest of the exhibition thought they were looking for polar wildlife to document and film. On January 2024, Eamon's exhibition, just like Victor Frankenstein's in 1888, disappeared without trace. The guide and hunter made it back to civilization and reported they were dead. He said they were killed by a rogue polar bear while he was out hunting for meat. None of them were armed, and when he returned to the camp, bodies and blood everywhere. The giant bear returned and the hunter shot it, but it ran off. That was the official verdict. When Professor Hoffenheim researched into the allegation, he just shook his head and uttered, "God help us all if this polar bear ever decides to visit civilization." Well, folks, this violation of nature, the Frankenstein monster, was based on the 2013 horror film, The Frankenstein Theory, which could be considered or construed as a mind-boggling conspiracy theory that a fictional horror just might be the ultimate abomination of reality. Just the thought of such a possibility would more or less conjure the true horrors that lie between fact and fiction. Now, the Frankenstein monster is fiction, though it was kind of surreal to bring him to life in this docu-film. I hope you enjoyed this fantasy horror. To see more in this channel, just click on or subscribe. I'll catch you later. Oh, and again, watch out for that polar bear. You ever go to the Arctic.